No one saw it coming. For months, fans had been waiting for this moment, the one where Can Yaman, the Turkish star adored across Europe, would finally take the next big step in his love life. After years of silence, rumors, and heartbreaks, the world believed that this time, he had truly found the one. Sara Bluma, the elegant, mysterious woman who had quietly entered his world and seemed to calm the storm around him. Together, they looked unstoppable, glamorous, powerful, and deeply connected. But what happened behind closed doors shocked everyone. When Can Yaman finally proposed, expecting a yes that would seal their story, Sara said the unthinkable. She whispered, "I'm scared." It all started a few weeks ago in Rome. Can had been filming, balancing his professional commitments with what many thought was a serious, evolving relationship. Sara had been seen supporting him at events, sitting quietly in the background, never seeking attention, the opposite of everything he had known before. Friends close to them described her as his peace, his anchor. But peace, it seems, wasn't enough to erase the fear that love sometimes brings. According to sources, the proposal wasn't grand or public. It wasn't a red carpet or a stage moment. It was deeply private, just the two of them in a small villa outside of the city, a place they had often gone to escape the noise of fame. Can had arranged everything himself: candles, music, a dinner under the stars. He wanted it simple, meaningful. Those close to him said he had been nervous all day, pacing, rehearsing his words. He wanted it to be perfect, one insider shared. He really believed she was the one. When the moment came, he reportedly took her hand, looked into her eyes, and said, "You've changed my life. I don't want to imagine it without you." Then, as he got down on one knee, Sara froze. She didn't cry. She didn't smile. She just looked at him, torn between love and fear. Can, still on one knee, waited. The silence was heavy. And then she whispered it. "I'm scared." For a few seconds, he thought he'd misheard her. He asked softly, "Scared of what?" Her voice trembled as she answered, "Of losing myself again." It was a heartbreaking moment, one that no one outside that room was meant to know. But somehow, as stories often do in the world of fame, word got out. A close friend later confirmed what fans feared: Sara had turned down his proposal. She didn't reject him out of anger or pride. She said no because she was afraid of what love could do to her life, her independence, her identity. To understand her answer, you have to understand her story. Sara Bluma is not like the others who came before. She's not an actress chasing headlines or a model looking for spotlight. She's private, grounded, and deeply sensitive. In a past interview, long before she met Can, she once said, "I've seen what happens when you lose yourself in someone else's world. It's hard to find your way back." Those words now feel almost prophetic. Because being with Can Yaman means stepping into a storm, a life of constant cameras, relentless fans, and endless rumors. It means every move, every glance, every silence is analyzed by millions. For some, that's exciting. For others, terrifying. And for Sara, it seems, it became too much. After the proposal, things between them reportedly became quiet. Ken was heartbroken, but he didn't show it publicly. He returned to work, smiling for cameras, acting as if nothing had happened. But those who know him say the smile was different, softer, sadder. "He still loves her," a friend said. "You can see it in the way he talks about her, even when he tries not to." Meanwhile, Sara disappeared from the public eye. She deleted several recent posts and limited her social media comments. The last thing she shared was a simple photo, a sunset with the caption, "Some endings are not the end." Fans immediately connected it to Can. The internet exploded. Did she really say no? Why would she reject him? Was it fear or something else? Comments flooded every platform. People took sides. Some called her brave, a woman refusing to lose herself in fame. Others called her foolish, for walking away from what millions would dream of. But no one could deny the emotion behind her choice. In the following days, Can finally broke his silence, indirectly. He posted a photo in black and white, him sitting alone, looking out at the sea. The caption read, "You can love someone deeply, and still have to let them go." It was the kind of post that said everything without saying a word. Insiders say he hasn't given up completely. He respects her decision, one close friend explained, but he believes fear can be healed with time. He's giving her space, not distance. And that's perhaps the most telling detail of all, that even in heartbreak, Can Yaman remains a man of patience and loyalty. Sara, on the other hand, has reportedly been reflecting on what happened. A mutual friend described her as conflicted. She loves him, that's clear, they said. But she's afraid of what that love could cost her. She's afraid of living a life that belongs to the cameras more than to herself. In a world where fame often consumes love, her fear makes sense. Relationships under the spotlight rarely survive without scars. Ken has lived it before, the public romances, the headlines, the gossip wars. Perhaps that's why this rejection hurts differently. It's not born of drama, but of sincerity. Still, fans are hopeful. Because where there is love, there is always a chance. And small details are keeping that hope alive. Recently, at a press event, Ken was asked about love. He smiled briefly and said, "Love is not about winning or losing. It's about understanding the other person's fear." That one sentence sent the internet into meltdown. Everyone knew who he meant. It wasn't a random philosophical answer. It was his quiet message to Sara. And perhaps, her silence is her way of listening. Those who've seen them together say their bond was real. They were opposites that balanced each other, her calm to his fire, his courage to her caution. And sometimes, the strongest loves are the ones that need time to heal before they can begin again. Fans around the world continue to flood social media with messages of support. "If it's meant to be, it will be," one wrote. "She said she's scared, not that she stopped loving him," another added. And that may be the heart of the story. Because fear doesn't always mean the end. Sometimes, it's the first step towards something more real. For Can, this may be another lesson in the unpredictable path of love, a path he's walked publicly, painfully, and honestly. For Sara, it's a test of courage, the kind that doesn't happen in front of cameras, but inside the heart. As of now, both have remained silent about their future. But silence, in their world, speaks volumes. And the world is listening. Maybe one day, Sara will no longer be scared. Maybe one day, she'll realize that love isn't about losing yourself, but finding the version of you that feels alive again. And maybe, just maybe, the next time Can Yaman gets down on one knee, she'll be ready to say yes. Until then, their story remains unfinished, suspended between heartbreak and hope, between fear and faith. And as fans around the world keep asking what comes next, one truth remains undeniable: even in rejection, the connection between them is too powerful to ignore. Because when love is real, even no doesn't mean goodbye. And so, the story of Can Yaman and Sara Bluma continues, fragile, uncertain, yet deeply human. Fans wait for a sign, a message, a reunion. Because love like theirs doesn't vanish overnight, it lingers in glances, memories, and silence. Maybe fear said no today, but destiny might still whisper yes tomorrow.